Let's turn to business news now with Giles Beckford, our business editor, who is beaming in from the Wellington newsroom. Welcome, Giles. A big company with a low profile making a significant purchase.
Indeed, this one is called EBOS, John. Now, you may not instantly recognise that name, but if I tell you that they own Red Seal, the health food supplements company, they own or part of animal care stores around the country, as well as significant pharmaceutical and chemist shop assets on both sides of the Tasman. They have become, in the space of a short time, a pretty big player. Now, they've just quietly bought themselves another company in Australia called HPS, which provides wholesale pharmaceutical services to private hospitals and prisons and clinics in Australia. And what I like about EBOS, and I think that it's quite widely admired amongst investors in the know in particular, is that it does its homework. It finds companies that have good management, good businesses that are complementary to its own, and it neatly clips them onto the EBOS group. It doesn't go in there, rip and bust, looking for that dreadful word synergies, which always means just sending people down the road. It says, you're a good company, you've got good staff, and that's why we're paying top dollar for you. And this seems to be...
Giles, you and I, we're showing our age here because we remember the asset rating and the especially around the late 80s, right? So EBOS isn't doing that kind of stuff.
It's not doing any of that kind of stuff. It's headed by a man called Patrick Davies, who I've had a long chat today. He's slightly dry and laconic about it, and I say every time I talk to you, and that's about 4 times a year, you've just gone and bought something. And then you tell me, well, we'll just quietly get on with business. And they do. And that's what I like about this company. It's also got the standout virtue of it. It's a New Zealand company that's actually doing quite well by buying stuff in Australia and not making a real hash of it, as we have done, as we've seen in the past from Kiwi companies. So a good company. It's in the space of 5-6 years, it's gone from just under $1 billion turnover to nearly $8 billion. And I guarantee that very few of you will have heard its name, but it's one to certainly watch out for, although if you're a professional investor, it's expensive to buy.
The Commerce Commission notched up another big court decision.
Well, I used to rail at the Commerce Commission because they had the Fair Trading Act and the misleading advertising laws to enforce, and they never seemed to do it. They always seemed to say, we'll wag a finger at them. But in the last few years, they seem to have found some, should we say, some moxie. And they're out there, they're chasing bandits and rip-off merchants, like the retail truck people that prowl certain parts of Auckland. Well, this latest one is a company that was selling basically fake alpaca and merino. It claimed that duvets and jerseys and the like and wraparounds were authentic alpaca and merino, and there was virtually none of it, if any, in fact, in those products. Right? They've racked up, and this was the surprising thing for me. They've had 11 prosecutions in this particular sphere alone in the past 5 years, and they've totaled $1.5 million in fines. Interestingly, a lot of the companies seem to have overseas connections aimed at ripping off tourists. Doesn't do our reputation any good, but at least I'm pleased to see that the Commerce Commission is finally flexing some real muscle in chasing bandits.
Thanks, Giles. What happened on the markets today?
Top 50 index, it was down 25 points at 7385, and the New Zealand dollar a bit stronger, 70.2 US cents, 93.7 Australian. Thing to watch out for tomorrow is Fonterra's milk price forecast. Somewhere around the current level of $6 a kilo of milk solids as a minimum is expected.
We look forward to discussing it with you tomorrow night. Giles Beckford, our business editor.